And all the other panelists, Ashish sir, Rahul sir, Dr. Prachi, Dr. Sangeeta, please open your video. And today we are privileged to have Dr. Gaurav Gupta, Principal Scientist in AMPRI, among with us. Dr. Gaurav Gupta has a wonderful CV. The detail will be delivered by Dr. Sangeeta within a couple of minutes. By the way, Dr. Gaurav, let me introduce you with the panelist. Dr. Neetu Paliwal is there. She is the Dean of Science Department.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Prachi is there. Dr. Prachi is working in Advanced Material Research Lab. She's very enthusiastic about this metal composite foam and their defense application. So, and Dr. Rahul is there. That day,
we have meeting.
Yes. And Ashish Chauhan sir is there. He is HOD Electronics Department.
Okay.
Good afternoon. And Jyoti madam is there. Jyoti madam is about to become a doctor, maybe within 1 year. And she's a chemistry faculty. And Jyoti madam, Dr. Gaurav is there, today's speaker. Okay. So just give me a minute so that I can contact Sangeeta madam. या फिर एक काम करते हैं स्टार्ट नहीं ठीक स्टार्ट है ना सो okay, I think Sangeeta madam is taking some time, so I will tell her, request her to give the vote of thanks. By the way, to save the time, sir, shall we start now?
Yes.
Okay. Then let me have the privilege to share the wonderful biodata of our today's speaker, Dr. Gaurav Gupta. He's a principal scientist working in lightweight metallic materials division in Advanced Materials and Process Research Institute, that is AMPRI. Dr. Gaurav Gupta has completed his BTech, MTech and PhD from one of the most elite institute of India, that is IIT Kanpur, from Material Science and Engineering Department. And his thesis topic was liquid phase sintering of premix 2014 aluminium copper silicon and 6061 aluminium magnesium silicon aluminium alloys and their composites. Dr. Gaurav has a vast 14 years of experience in R&D in the areas of aluminium metal matrix composite, micro nano by casting and powder metallurgy, tribology of materials, alloys and products development, biomaterials, and most interestingly, armor materials for DRDO. So he has a facility created by him is the establishment of advanced centralized material characterization lab, setting up of powder metallurgy processing lab. And he has a lot of awards and achievements. He has been honored by, he's the secretary of Indian Institute of Metal Bhopal chapter from 2017. He's the honorary secretary of Staff Club and secured 10 CGPA in the PhD coursework. He has published around 40 research papers, supervised 9 MTech MS dissertation, PhD dissertation under supervision, and PhD awarded. Also, a couple of students have already been awarded. He's applied national as well as international patents, and he is a life member of the Indian Institute of Metal, Tribology Society of India, Material Research Society of India, and Powder Metallurgy Association of India, Society of India. So let's welcome Dr. Gaurav Gupta, and we are eagerly waiting, sir, to have your talk. So you can start now.
Thank you for a nice introduction. And now I will start my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Would you be able to see the slide?
Yeah.
So thank you for giving me opportunity for talking about some of my thoughts amongst all the students and faculties of AISEC Bhopal. So my topic of today's talk is an insight into metallic foams and composites. So first I will give you some brief about AMPRI. It has been established in 1983 as RRL Bhopal, and in year 2009 the name has been changed to AMPRI. It is Advanced Materials and Process Institute. We have almost 40 scientists, which is covered in all the field: metallurgy, mechanical, civil, other thing. Major research area of AMPRI is my department is basically alum alloy and composite by both powder metallurgy and casting. We are working on cellular materials like alum foam, carbon foam, syntactic, stainless steel, and other. We are also working on biomaterials foam for biometal application like titanium SS. We are working on shape memory alloys and other smart materials. Some of the group is working on nanocomposite using nanotube graphene. We are also utilizing bulk mining waste like red mud fly ash, and we are making cement-free concrete tiles and other things. One of the division is also working on polymer-based composite, and one division is working on natural fiber. They are taking other jute and sisal, and they are making wood substitute. This is a brief introduction of AMPRI. I told about that what are the advanced material we are working in. One of the high strength aluminum magnesium alloys. We're working on aluminum copper composite and nano composite. We are making aluminum foam. Some of the component you can see. An application of these material are in the automobile sector like steering wheel, bracket, control arm. In case of composite, they are brake drum, brakes, the connecting rod. And then in case of foam, the application of crash box, door insert, armors, blast resistance panel, and already we are working with some automobile company to make connect brake drum for the automobile. We are normal brake drum is made by casting route, and it is made from cast iron. We are replacing with aluminum composite, and the purpose to use aluminum composite or foam is to increase the crash worthiness, noise, vibration, attenuation, and blast resistance property, and most important, the weight reduction. Normal cast iron based component are the density in 7 to 7.8, but the aluminum foam and composite are in the range of even 0.2 to 2.7. Means aluminum foam here, the density is in range of 0.20 to 0.70 gram per cc, and the composite is the range of 2.7 to 3.2. We are also working on some of the new processes like electromagnetic forming, joining. One of the colleagues working on dissimilar metal joining by pulse metal forming. So we can join any two metal sheet which is difference in the density, different in the young modulus, different in melting point. We can directly join without any heating, just by cold giving the electromagnetic force, and then we can join it. We can make many components like wire lux tube, many tube forming, and we are also working on making the component of automobile by squeeze casting, pressure die casting, and we are also working on powder metallurgy processing to making some of the component like foam, high temperature foam, armor, other thing. We are using hot pressing, powder forging technique. We have a very good facility for heat treatment. We have also expertise for heat treatment for ferrous and non-ferrous waste material. And we can also make the deformation mapping of many of the alloys and composite. The deformation, nothing but during the deformation of any metal system, what is the best optimum temperature and optimum speed by which we can deform the material without any failure. So this is called a deformation mapping. We have generated many deformation map of aluminum alloys and composite. So we can do this kind of work also. We have expertise of fracture, fatigue, in situ metallography, mechanical testing, and other thing. We can also have a expertise for life assessment of any component. We have a HRTM, FEACM, Raman, XRF, XRD, and we have recently purchased the split Hopkinson pressure wire for high standard testing. We can do characterization from micro to nano, crystallography, stress analysis, many things we can do. Now come to the metallic composite, and we will see this kind of approach. First, the classification, reinforcement, phase, property, and other thing. The composite, nothing but a material system which is composed of two or physically distinct phases, where the combination of both the phases generate aggregate property that are different from constituent. Means we are adding two different kind of material system, either maybe metal or ceramic or polymer. We are mixing two material system, and the properties of those, overall property of this combination generate new property which is different from the constituent. Basically, in between, you can say. So composite material, already we have told, and examples of the composite is basically, nowadays even the natural composite is wood, which is lignin with the cellulose fiber. Now in the all your vehicle, the tire is basically rubber mixed with carbon black. We are much into the plastic, polymer fiber composite, mostly used in the automobile component, aircraft, and other very application. Even we are using your tool steel for the machining of many of the material, but for the hard material we are using carbide tools, and carbide tools are nothing but the composite, where the hard part is tungsten carbide or nickel carbide, and cobalt or nickel is a binder. It is a metal part. So these are some of the example of composite. And why composite are very important? They are very strong and stiff. Of course, they are light in weight, and because we are adding a hard particle in the softer particle, so that's why the density won't increase too much, but the strength and the other thing will increase. So we can have a very high strength to weight ratio, and we can have higher fatigue property, toughness also. And composite, since multiple materials are there, so it is not like corrode like steel, and we can make many component, and we can generate many possible combination of property which is not available, which cannot be attained by other if you use simple component, metal, ceramic, polymer, then it is not generated the some property. But if we make composite, we can achieve combination properties. So for example, metal have a lower hardness, but if you add ceramic into that, it generates the hardness. Also, polymer has a very soft material, very low property. If you add fiber, ceramic fiber, something fiber, it generates young modulus and strength too much. So this kind of thing is there. Of course, if any advantages are, then some disadvantage also there. So disadvantage is that if you add reinforcement into the composite, then it may generate property in the anisotropic manner. If you add, suppose you add fibers, then the property in the fiber direction will be higher as compared to the transfer direction. That may be sometimes this can be advantage or disadvantage. And of course, manufacturing is difficult. Like simple polymer or metal can be easily shaped, or easily we can form it. But manufacturing, shaping or deforming the composite very difficult, and they are expensive. So there are two kind of composite. One is traditional or one is synthetic. So traditional, like wood, concrete, they are traditional, and we are making from long years. Synthetic composite, we are from last 50 to 100 years we are making it, and we are making in a manner like we are in terms of desired structure. First, we model it that what could be the structure of the composite, how ceramic or other reinforcement can be added into the composite, and what are the property we can achieve, and then what are the geometry. So we can, many industry are making a synthetic composite for many application. Most of the application are aerospace, automobile, general engineering, turbine blade, and electrical application also. So many applications are there. So composite can be added formed in ways of classification. There are three types of composite. One is particle reinforced, where we add the reinforcement in form of particles, small particles, maybe micron size, nano size, even mm size. So both kind of particle are possible. Then another criteria is fiber reinforced, means we are adding reinforcement in terms of fibers. And third is structural. Structural means both the thing like the reinforcement as well as the base material, they are in the more or less same size. So in case of particle reinforcement, there can be large particle. Like in case of concrete, we are adding aggregate, they are large particle. In case of normal metal matrix composite, we are adding nano size or micron size dispersion. This is called dispersion strengthen. In case of fiber reinforced, it can be continuous fiber, means very long fiber. That can be discontinuously small fiber. And a small fiber can be two kind. One is aligned, means aligned in one direction, or randomly aligned. And a structural, they are laminates, means layer by layer formation. And another sandwich panel, where the reinforcement part is in between, and the matrix part is small, which is in the form of sheet. So this is the classification. And you can see the primary phase is called matrix and the secondary phase is called reinforcement. So you can see in the primary phase, one table is there. Then the primary phase can be metal, ceramic, or polymer, and secondary phase can also be both, all the three. But only possibility is there. The reinforcement should be always be in higher property, except in one case, like cermets. In the case of metal, where primary phase is matrix and metal also secondary phase, this is made by powder metallurgical part. Means one metal can be softer like aluminum and other metal can be iron. So we can add by infiltration. Ceramic, in case of ceramic as a primary phase, the secondary phase is the nickel or cobalt, which is basically added for increasing the toughness of the ceramic. And the polymer metal is application where your brake lining and some molding compound like the gas pipe which you are using in your houses, it is made from polymer, and the steel wire is reinforced. It is reinforced with steel wire. This is polymer metal. In case of metal ceramic composite, of course, in our laboratory is making, because we are much into the metal ceramic and composite. We are making so much. We are adding lots of ceramic particle in terms of nano size. Even there, we are adding nanotube, graphene, and other nanoparticle. We are also adding the fiber of silica or alumina into the metal. So this is a metal ceramic case. Ceramic case is an application where is used for the rocket space application, where we use some kind of thermal insulation tiles for increasing the heat. Basically, it is used for as a nose cone in the rocket. So it is actually increasing your thermal shock, as well as it decreases the thermal conductivity also. In that case, the ceramic is in the primary phase is a weaker, but we are adding the reinforcement in the form of fiber. So suppose alumina is a phase, but alumina is a lower in strength and hardness, but we add silicon carbide viscose, means silicon fiber, then it will enhance its toughness as well as it's a melting point and also other thing. Polymer ceramic is the most common example, which is mostly used in aerospace, your wind turbine blades, and many of the automobile component, which is basically fiberglass reinforcement plastic. Is the most commonly used in the world. Means first, you can say first composite which is in the world is basically polymer ceramic composite. After the invention of glass fiber, they had been made. And then in case, of course, when metal is a matrix, you cannot add polymer as a secondary phase because it is not applicable. It's lower in strength. Same case with ceramic polymer. In case of polymer, you can use one polymer as a soft phase like epoxy and Kevlar, or other high strength polymer can be added as a reinforcement. They use for the armor application. This is the most of the classification. Then three kind of composite can be possible. One is MMC. This is nothing but your metal matrix composite. Then CMC, ceramic matrix composite, and PMC, polymer matrix composite. So purpose is different. For MMC, we are adding the ceramic to increase the yield strength, creep resistance. In ceramic matrix composite, because ceramic has a lower toughness, so we are adding metal or other thing to increase the fracture toughness so that crack won't propagate. In case of polymer matrix composite, we are adding metal or ceramic in order to increase the modulus, creep resistance, yield strength. And we can add any kind of reinforcement in terms of particle, fiber, or structure. And purpose of a primary phase, which is most common, means this is in the higher quantity. It is basically the purpose of primary phase to protect the secondary phase from environment. And primary phase, which is the main phase, is transfer the stresses to other phases. And this primary also hold the reinforcement in their own place. And when load is applied, the matrix share the load with the secondary phase. The primary phase role is there. Like now, other classification, like we are adding the different cases, like is the composite particles. First is the particle reinforced. So the concrete is example of particle reinforced, where the sand, gravel is nothing but dispersion in the microscopic scale, and cement is your matrix. And the one reinforcement again is there for increasing the fracture toughness and increase the tensile strength. Is basically your steel bars. The cement is a matrix, gravel, sand are the reinforcement, and the steel bar also is a reinforcement. And It is basically particles are there, which is ranging from microscopic to macroscope. You can add flakes, flaky particle also, which is nothing but the small flat particles. And the particles are distributed randomly because it's particle based. So that's why they are randomly distributed. So we have the property isotropic. It is not aligned. The property is not different. In the different direction is more or less same. And a strengthening mechanism depend on the particle size. The more is the finer the particle, more is the strength of the material. Because of Zener pinning and other dispersion hardening mechanism work there. So as you decrease the particle size from mm to micron or micron to nano, strengthening is different. In case of fiber reinforcement, we are adding fibers. Actually, fiber are very strong as compared to bulk material. If you make fiber of any material and compared with the bulk property of that same material, it gives you the higher property in that direction only, not in the transfer direction. So we are using fiber and fiber reinforced like fiberglass. We're adding glass filament polymer, and we are getting strength because of fiber, and its strength increases. And the fiber is basically reinforcement material. Usually they are cross section and circular direction, circular cross section, and diameter ranging from even 25 micron to 0.13 mm depending on the material. And as I've told you, the filament of any material is significantly stronger than its bulk format. And as you reduce the diameter of any filament fiber, the material become oriented in fiber direction, and probability of defect decreases significantly. Means larger the diameter of fiber, more can be the defect. But diameter is reduced, the defect will be reduced. So more is the thinner the diameter of the fiber, more is the strengthening. Okay. And the fiber are three types. One is viscose and conventional fiber and wires. So fiber can be two types. Is it either polycrystalline or amorphous? Polycrystalline means many grains are there, and amorphous basically non-crystalline. So fibers can be alumina, aramid, e-glass. E-glass basically glass fiber, boron. So fiber polycrystalline. And as you know, any polycrystalline material has a certain defect at the grain boundary. Because of that, it has a lower property. But any material which is in a single crystal form, which are without any defect, that have a much higher property as compared to polycrystalline. So people have made the viscose means single crystal fiber of many of the ceramic material like silicon carbide, alumina. So if they added into the composite, then strength will be much higher as compared to conventional fiber. Why? Because they are very strong and they have a very low defect. But of course, they are very expensive. And different materials on fiber, like already glass, I have told you that it is mostly used filament. Then we are adding carbon also into the fibers. Then boron and Kevlar and other things are also added for the auto or armor application. And mostly the fiber are used in polymer composite. And also some of the fiber now is used in ceramic composite also and metal composite. But most common fiber usage in the polymer composite. As you can see, the fiber can be three types. I have told you. One is long fiber, which is aligned in one direction. They are mostly strong. As the length is increasing, they are most strong. If you have a small fiber, like you have break the fiber into a smaller length, then it can be it's what we call discontinuous fiber. And they can be aligned in two ways, either aligned in one direction and or random direction. Any fiber which is strong and aligned in one direction, they have a higher property. It shows a higher property in the direction of fiber. But the direction transfer direction, they have a lesser property. And the fiber which is aligned and they are short fiber, there the property is more or less isotropic. But in the case of random, the property is more isotropic as compared to aligned. But they are weaker. They have a lower property in the fiber direction, not. And in case of continuous fiber, property is much more in the longitudinal direction. Like you can say the composite high pressure cylinder is an example. Like nowadays, our LPG cylinder conventionally made from a steel material now, but the companies are making the polymer fiber composite cylinder and its advantage of that, it cannot burn, it cannot blast like that, and it's very lightweight. So this is coming to the market soon. This kind of cylinder, fiber based LPG cylinder. And the third category is structural, where the reinforcement and the matrix are of same size. It is not like that In the other cases, the reinforcement is a very small particle, or in case of fiber, the long thing. But in case of structural, both are more or less same size. So as you can see in the case of stacked and bonded fiber reinforced concrete, so one is the fiber layer, fiber sheet. Means you are using fiber sheet instead of single fiber. So one layer can be fiber reinforced sheet, another can be polymer. So where they stack together in each other, and then hot press or other way we are making the component. Another with the sandwich panel. In first case, the we are putting layer by layer all the component reinforcement as well as the matrix component. But in the sandwich panel, we are using one as a more in size, like we are using honeycomb core as a reinforcement, because it's a very high energy absorbing. And the matrix part, you can say, and the matrix part is foam, and the reinforcement we are adding face sheet to increase its stiffness, bending stiffness, because foam can be crushed with the load, but face sheet can be deformed during the bending strength. So here in this case, the one, of course, the size, the area of the reinforcement as well as the matrix is more or less same size, but the thickness of the different layer can be different. So you can this fabricate sandwich panel, and in our lab we are making this kind of material using foam. Okay, we are putting foam in between, and we are putting polymer or aluminum material around this foam material, and we are making sandwich panel. Sandwich panel can be of either first laminate structure, sandwich structure, or honeycomb. Both are possible. And laminate composite, like example, like automotive tires, which is made from multiple layers of rubber. Then FRP, now in the aircraft and automobile, they are making fiber cloth or fiber sheet, multi-layer fiber sheet, and then putting in between the plastic layer, and then making the component. Snow skies, windshield glasses, they are the basic example of laminate composite, where the reinforcement as well the matrix is of the same size. Now metal and ceramic composite, I have told you that in case of ceramic matrix composite, ceramic part is basically tungsten carbide, and it is contained metal matrix, and it is used for cutting tools and other thing. Of course, the property of composite decided by three factors. What are the components you have used in the material, which is what is the property of matrix, what is the property of reinforcement, and its geometrical shapes of the different constituent, whether in particle shape, whether in fiber shape, or in a structural shape, and how they are interacting with each other, how the load transfer is going to happen. So all the three factors are basically interfacial bonding. You can see how the manner in which phase interact with each other. Nothing but interfacial bonding between the matrix and the reinforcement. So all these factors decided what are the overall property of your composite. And there's a rule of mixture that fiber has a very high strength but low strain, and matrix has a very high strain but low stress. And if you make composite, it is property in between. Now I come to the metal matrix composite. Nothing but metal reinforced secondary phase. And now we come to the what are the work we are doing in metal composite MP. So we are working on metal composite for automobile as well as naval application. Both are application we are working. So for naval application, we are making copper based composite, and for automobile application, we are making aluminum based composite. And the application of naval in the tank, storage vehicle, pipes, and other things. So as you know, what are the requirement of the naval? Why it is there are lot of type of defect corrosion taking place in the naval part, because it is basically sea, water, and sand is also there. So there are many kind of corrosion is happening there. Maybe one case uniform corrosion, another, and the pitting intercalor. There's a many kind of corrosion taking place in the saline water environment. One of the major factor of corrosion is erosion corrosion, where it is not nothing but the sea water, but the water, the sand is also there near the shore. It is actually creating it is causing the wear of the component of the ship. So because sea water is already there, so it is causing corrosion. But the sand particle and other particle which is present near the shore, because near the shore the depth of the sea is very less, so there only the erosion corrosion is possible. So whatever the hulls and the seashore structure, fixed structure are there, they are prone to the erosion corrosion. So as you know, any of the ceramic particles we add in the matrix, they increase the tribological property, they increase the tribological strength, means wear property. So for that, we have added the sum of reinforcement in the copper matrix. Because of this, its erosion corrosion property has been enhanced. This is basically erosion corrosion. It is caused by high turbulent flow on the surface, and it is basically the abrasion of the sand or other particle, and it is basically uh, like corrosion of turbine blade and other thing. So it is basically erosion of the metallic surface by the mechanical abrasion of the sand particle, and also corrosion is already taking place. So these are most of the component where the erosion corrosion can be possible. The basically the part which is submerged in the seas in the sea, like pipes, valve, pump, blower, stirrer, and other thing. Of course, you know the copper is used mostly in the in the naval sector, because it is a very good corrosion resistant in the conventional seawater, and they are very good electrical property, and we are using the naval people are using basically copper alloy like aluminum bronze, nickel, aluminum bronze, other thing. And of course, if you change the composition to copper off, it can change the different structure. But these copper alloy have a poor erosion corrosion. They have a very good corrosion resistance, but they are lacking erosion property. For that, we have to add some kind of reinforcement into the copper. So for if we add any reinforcement into copper, the two things will happen. One thing is thermal stable, because expansion coefficient of any composite is almost lesser than the pure alloy, and also it will increase the high temperature strength, because ceramic particles have higher strength, and also increase the wear property. So we have added TIC as a reinforcement, and the TIC is generated by the sum of chemical reaction. So it has been added into the copper, and these are some of the micrograph. The conventional aluminum bronze, which is basically copper, aluminum, and iron based alloy. This is most commonly used. And then we have added some TIC as in 5%, 10%, and some of the other alloy. And we have compare the property of the conventional these alloy like NAB, nickel, aluminum, bronze. It is basically copper, nickel, and aluminum and iron based alloy. Aluminum bronze is nothing but copper, aluminum, and iron based alloy. So they are mostly used in the naval sector. So you can see, of course, our strength wise, the composite is lesser, because we are using mostly NAB is used in the naval sector. So if you compare the strength of the naval alloy with the your composite, the property wise, young modulus is increased, but because of some of the because when you make any composite and by the casting route, the solidification front is problematic, because ceramic won't uh, change the solidification pattern of any metal. So because of some defect can maybe come, because of this, yield strength will always be higher for the composite, but sometimes tensile strength is dependent on many factors. Tensile strength reduce. But if you compare the wear property of both the reinforcement composite as with the alloy, you can see the wear rate is highly reduced in case of both conventional wear rate and also erosion corrosion. The bottom curve are showing the erosion corrosion rate of the both the alloy. You can see the alloy are less wear rate as compared to the your conventional alloy. And when you compare the corrosion rate, conventional corrosion rate also in the conventional 3.5% NaCl system, you can see that corrosion rate of composite is less than the your alloy. So corrosion also corrosion resistance also increase as a wear property. Strength wise is more, because any of the structural component have a we have to see not the tensile strength but the yield strength of the material, because failure is they governed by the yield strength, because any loads applied on the structure actually generate some stresses, and if the stresses are beyond the yield, then only deformation will occur. So any factor of safety is depend on the yield strength. So for that, yield strength is more or less safe, okay, and then ductility is also okay. Only we have to see the your wear property. Wear property is okay, and also you have reduced the density also, because conventional NAV has a 7.54, but TIC composite has a lesser density. So if you compare, if you make calculation of specific strength of the composite, may be higher than your alloy. So we, in the case of any changing in the from alloy to composite, we have to see not the strength but the specific strength divided by the density. That we have to see. So that is the increase. Also compressed strength also increases. So this is we have run in one of the project. Now come to the alum based composite. As I've told you that whenever you add any reinforcement into the into system, because deformation, when you deform any material, basically dislocation movement into the matrix, and metal has very susceptible to deformation, but ceramic are not susceptible to deformation because they are very hard. So if you add any ceramic particle into the any matrix like aluminum or copper, the secondary deformation is very difficult. Machining also difficult. So if you add this kind of ceramic in a form of very fine particle like nano size particle or micron size particle, then it can be easily secondary deformed. If you add the ceramic in the case of size, or maybe in the micron, if you add ceramic particle of maybe 100 micron or 50 micron, then also it's difficult to secondary process. Secondary deformation nothing but rolling, forging, extrusion and other thing. So in order to increase the stiffness, wear property and other property, it should have a very fine particle, and also it should have very high interfacial bonding with the matrix. So that's why we are in case of aluminum alloy, we have also added the TIC in form of in situ reaction, and we can make the component like connecting or break this and other thing. And we have also rolled it. So we have made conventional the alloys. We have taken 5083 and we have made the composite. We have rolled it, we have hot forged it, and we have found out that if you we have measured the strength as cast condition, and after rolling is very easy. We can easily roll it. So you can see that after rolling, as compared to casting you are getting yield strength 142, but after rolling is 476, means 3 times enhancement in the strength, and elongation is more or less same. Elongation only change. So you can use, so that can be proven that if you add very fine particle into you can see the simple alloy you have deformed, then it is only yield strength increase up to 306, because any reinforcement acts as a pinning site for the for the deformation. So very fine grain will generate because of the reinforcement, because when you do hot rolling, there is a simultaneous recrystallization and recovery process simultaneously going on. And after recrystallization, new grains forms. So this ceramic part act as a penning site for new grains. So simple alloy is there. After rolling, you get more or less higher grain size, but after rolling of the ceramic reinforcement composite, you get finer side, and also the particle also finer. So they act as a pinning for the dislocation. Means this gives you the Zener pinning or dispersion hardening strength. So that's why we have to use finer, and finer doesn't create any casting problem. Means if a bigger size reinforcement, it changes the solidification pattern of the cast during casting, but finer doesn't create any problem, and we can easily roll it, because dislocation can because these particles won't create any problem for the dislocation motion. And if we compare, and also if you can see that tensile ultimate compression strength also enhances for this case of composite, and hardness also increases, so you can use for tribological property. If you compare the both composite with the alloy, you can see that corrosion rate also reduces too much. So it has a very high corrosion rate, high strength and high hardness. So it can be used for, and we are talking with the Tata Motors or other industry for making the connecting rod and other component using this same material. Of course, we are adding some of the ceramic into the aluminum matrix, but if we add instead of only one ceramic element, if we add some another ceramic element like CNT or graphene along with the in the aluminum matrix, like we are adding in this case, we are adding silicon carbide as well as a CNT into the aluminum matrix, and we can see if there is only silicon carbide is there, then strength is not so much. But we add both the things, then strength is much higher than the conventional, because both are one is causing the primary hardening, another causing secondary hardening of the system. So that will create both some kind of stress field that increases your strength. So that is also one of the work we are doing. I have told you during the composite composite can be 3 types. one is the particle, one is fiber, and one is the structural. So this kind of approach is structural composite, where the one of the phase is ceramic or intermetal, another phase is metallic. So this kind of approach is used for the your armor application. So this is the conventional armor plates which is used for the your soldiers are bulletproof jacket they are using. Uh, as you know, in the nature, many of the animals have some kind of protection system, shell kind of structure on their back or some their body, which protect them from some shock or the some other animal from other animal. So they have a some kind of system in their hard shell, which is basically structural composite. One is the soft phase, one is hard phase. So if this kind of approach is possible in the in the nature, animals, same approach we have used in our armor system. It's the same thing. Means when one layer is soft, means metal, and one layer is your tough, basically a hard layer, ceramic or reinforced or intermetallic. So, so that we have used in the our approach. As you know, most of the armor material in the vehicle as well as the they use steel. Armor grade steel, and requirement of any armor grade metal should be a higher lower weight. I mean, proper performance wise, it should be same, but it should have a lower weight. So our this system which we have made it has a lesser weight but same performance. Okay, and the purpose of using multiple approach is that if any bullet hit the your material, actually whatever the phase is brittle, it's first absorb the energy. So any ceramic or intermetallic part which we added, which is normally is slightly brittle, it breaks and erodes the projectile, basically bullet. And whatever the metal part or softer part is there, it absorbs the kinetic energy of the impactor, because the harder part is basically hard. So it actually creates some kind of rubbing action with the your projectile, because all the bullets are basically metallic bullet, mainly from copper or steel, and they have a lesser hardness than your ceramic. So it basically blunt your projectile. So that way projectile erodes. And since projectile is very high energy, so the whatever the soft part is there, it is basically ductile, so it can absorb the kinetic energy of the your projectile and supports the other part which is there in the like ceramic or other thing. And and the how it is behaving in, because the ceramic part is there, it basically crack form is in the ceramic part, and blunting is happening in the ceramic part, and whatever the stress is there, it the metallic part takes all the stresses, and that way it absorb the your bullet impact. So you can see we have made 8 mm sheet like this, and we have measured the, we have done the simulation with the your AK-47 bullet, and we have found out that it is usually absorbing your energy. Now we come to metallic foams. So as you know, metallic foam is a new class of material which is different than your solid material, and because why it is, because they are lightweight and they have basically porous metals, and they have very high impact energy, high vibration damping, and good thermal insulation. Okay, so they are different than the solid metal. They are not solid; they are porous metals basically, and there are many types of foam can be possible. One is perfectly open cell foam, closed cell foam, and partially hybrid. You can say hybrid foam where the both combination of open and close are there. And you can see the number of papers, research paper, which is in the metal foam are huge. You can see in metal foam we have 3 lakh, almost 3 lakh paper in metal foam. Now, what are the current status? That metal foam possesses very high strength to weight ratio. They have high stiffness and high impact energy. They're lightweight. They can be easily, they can absorb the noise. And we are nowadays using high temperature metal like titanium SS for the biocompatible foams and high bioimplant application. They can be used for filter, high temperature heat exchanger also. Open cell foam, you can see the pores are interconnected to each other. You can see one pore, the down pore means pore, one the pore which is inside from the outside boundary. So you can see the one pore, from the pore, you can see many pores are connected to inside. In case of closed cellular, the pore are isolated, means it's kind of bubble kind of pores are there. And production technique is basically liquid metal. First is the liquid. For the low melting point, we are using liquid metal, and we are putting some kind of gas forming agent into the liquid metal. When they make the gases, we have to freeze at that time only. So most of the our work in the liquid form, metal form, we are making from the liquid metallurgy route. For the high temperature metals like titanium, steel, nickel, we are using in the solid powder metallurgy form. We are putting uh, some kind of material which can be evaporated at low temperature, and then it generate their spaces. So that way we are doing. Another way, if we get some kind of metal vapor or gases metal compound, also we can making nickel base, and of course from the we can make nickel copper base foam for using electro deposition route also. In the liquid metal, the application the process are direct foaming with gas, which already we are doing, foaming with gas blowing agent. These two things we are doing. Then powder compact melting, that we are not doing in our lab. Spray forming, then investment and polymer foam. In liquid metallurgy, we are using sintering of hollow sphere, that we are doing. Okay, gas entrampment, that we are not doing. Pressing around fillers, that we are doing. Sintering of powder with a space holder, that we are doing, and reaction sintering. The different methods are there. So there are many applications of foam, like structural applications like automobile industry, shipbuilding, where we have to reduce the weight, machine construction. In these cases, we have to reduce the weight, as well as we have to reduce the damping, sound absorption. These are the applications of the automotive industry. Like automobile industry, we have to use in the many of the door panels, the front panel, where we can absorb the energy. The shipbuilding we can use for the flooring for reducing the damping and sound absorption. Even in railway we can use this thing. In many of the machine we can put at the base to reduce the vibration damping and other thing. In biomedical we are using foam so that cell can make the bone can make the integral bonding with your material. In the case of functional application, we use for the filtration, separation, catalytic, silencer, and other thing where the basically heat transfer and other thermal property are being used. And of course decoration arts purpose also we can use. This is the application for open pores foam are basically used for the two applications. Catalytic, where the because catalytic application you require continuous for movement of the fluid plus high surface area. So that's why I use for catalytic application filler, filters, and heat exchanger, because you have to transfer the fluid in between, as well as you have to have the higher surface area. But of course, the open cell foam are in poor in strength. They are basically we are using the thermal property and other property in this case. In case of partial open, we can use in the silencer bioimplant application. And closed cell foam are basically very high strength. That's why they can use for energy absorption, sound absorption, and vibration attenuation. So in our lab, we are making aluminum foam for many applications, and the density can be vary from 0.2 gram per cc to 0.8 gram per cc. We can have a size from 0.5 mm to 4 mm. Strength we can vary from 2 MPa to 35 MPa. Energy absorption, and we can have a very 50% higher density damping efficiency than dense aluminum. We are making sandwich panel, foam filled engine bracket, the door panel, sandwich panel, and the bottom picture is we have filled the foam in the crash box in the bumper assembly. We have a capability to make 200 kg of foam per day, and we are making hybrid aluminum composite foam for high-end application. We can join the foam bit to make the bigger structure by adhesive joining or welding, and we can make sandwich. And the component which we are working for crash component like crash box bumper, then vibration attenuation application in the basically engine bracket and other thing, and the heavy machinery, then door panel, partition panel, and other thing. We can also machine the foam. You can see the foam has a typical stress strain structure. It is not like conventional material have a yield strength and then tensile strength and then it will break. It has a after the yield strength, it is a constant zone of strength. It's called plateau region because foam is crushing under the load because foam because of the porous structure. So it is absorbed. It is a basic crushing at the constant loading till it become more or less solid. So you can see that after becoming more or less solid, it behaves like a conventional solid material. So till it is not become solid, it acts as a it has a constant stress zone, and is nothing called the plateau zone. So so, so we are making this kind of structure, and you can see we have a strength up to 35 MPa. We have a mold. We are making the foam in some MS mold, and then the foam is we remove from the foam from the mold, and then we cut it, and then we machine it, and use for the different structures. We have also got facility for simulation. So we have simulated the whatever the crash box in the automobile are there. We have simulated without foam and with foam, and we have also tested it in under real condition, uh, like we have put the this crash box under some machine, and we have uh, making some crash analysis out of this foam, and we have measured the what is the energy absorption is there, and we found out that if the empty crash box, which is made from steel, and whatever energy is absorbing like 9.8 kilojoule, but if you fill the foam, it can absorb 20 kilojoule. And we also found out that if you fill all the crash box and bumper with some kind of aluminum foam, then if you put this kind of thing in the car frontal area, then if you moving the car at 60 kilometer per hour, and if car weight is 1000 kg per hour, and whatever the crash is done there, all the foam and crash box absorb all the energy, and there is no damage to your structure of either engine or the passenger. All the crash energy can be absorbed by your foam material, and this is uh, already the standard of European standard, that what should be the car crash energy should be there for the very good car manufacturer. So we have checked that uh, the European standards that any car should be very good if it is crashes, absorb energy 135 165 kilojoule, and our foam with filled crash box can absorb 200 kilojoule energy. And if you compare our foam with uh, international standard foam, you can see that our foam is more or less same, higher, same, more or less same strength, same energy absorption, and more or less same density is comparable. So these are the example of closed cell foam for energy absorption. But we are making open cell foam also for functional application like EMI shielding, filtration, heat transfer. So there we are not measuring any strength part, but we are have to concern about the surface area and the thermal conductivity part. You can see this thermal conductivity is very high, so we can use for energy heat transfer as well EMI shielding application. The same thing we have made for the cooler, so we can make the same kind of cooler using open cell foam because heat transfer rate is very high. So we have made some kind of cooler where there is physically no cooler, but we have put the open cell foam into the perforated sheet in the magnet, and we have to just fill the upper tank with the water from drop by drop going to the foam. It basically evaporate very fast. So you can see that uh, at even 45-degree ambient temperature is there, but inside temperature is 28-degree, and we have put the vegetable inside that, and we can see that even 3 days vegetable can sustain there. The same approach, we have told you that the sandwich panel kind of shape is composite. So here also same kind of approach that if we make aluminum foam in between and put the aluminum alloy and ceramic in the both side, then we can use for the multi-layer armor thing for the defense application. We are also working on carbon foam. Carbon is very lightweight material. So of course here the carbon foam is for the functional application, like you can say lead acid. Lead acid battery used for the rechargeable battery, but lead is very heavy, and the life of lead is very low, and some kind of issues are there like corrosion, sulfation, and so that's why if we add the lead, if we decorate the lead onto the carbon foam, then we can use this electrode for the lead acid battery. So this is very good application of the carbon foam. And I have told you that the foam can be made by two route. Either I have to either you can generate the gases through gases in the metal part, or you add some kind of hollow sphere into the metal. So one way is to add the gas part, adding the gas or gasifying agent to the metal, that will generate bubbles, and we have to freeze it. So that way we are making foam. But another way to add, like hollow sphere, like stainless steel or nickel or other sphere, directly into the metal. So, but in this case, in the conventional way of making the foam, the pores are not uniform in the size and also not isotropic. The maybe the porosity also vary from one point to another point. But this way, we adding hollow sphere and making the metal foam. Then, in case the isotropic property will be isotropic, and also strength wise is much more than the conventional foam. That we are making some by some method. You can see we have used a hollow sphere. You can, when we've cut it, you can see this kind of thing. This work we are doing currently. Apart from conventional foam of aluminum, we are also making foam for biomedical applications like titanium foam, and we are using with the powder metallurgical route. We are making for 3D printing also, and we are doing is biological testing also. So this the work we are doing. We are also making stainless steel foam for in various porosity. We are measuring it strength as well as its corrosion property, and also we are measuring it cell behavior in the biological conditions. So this is in all from my side. So thank you. If you have any question.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you so much, Dr. Gaurav, for the informative talk. And the session is now open for questions. Dr. Gaurav, I have a question that I think this composite foam or this kind of stuffs has a effect on mattress, na? Like
Yes.
orthopedic mattress. Recently, I have bought for my father with a lower back pain problem. They told that some memory foam is there, which is giving the cushioning effect or something like that.
Memory
So,
foam is nothing but here the polymer case. Shape memory polymer are used there. Shape
okay.
memory polymer.
So these kind of stuff can be used in the shoe also, right? For
Yes,
the
yes. Because shape memory polymer, if you use in the foam type, because they have a very high resilience, means high uh, basically elasticity. Of course,
okay.
after certain loading condition, you won't get reverse. Like we are using a memory foam in our houses for the mattresses and other thing. So up to certain limit, they can come back. But if you have a more load, then with some kind of permanent deformation can be possible.
Okay, okay. And sir, another thing I was checking that whether is a many metal composite foam, metallic foam, they are a radiation shielding. They can shield radiation as well.
Yes, yes. Because of ceramic particle which we are using, they are because any radiation is basically the if high Z element should be there, high Z element like iron, titanium. So basically, this if these are elements are present in the ceramic part, then they can first the high Z element, and one should be the another case is the very high surface area. So our all the foams we are making carbon foam is basically we are making for EMI shielding because they are very high surface area, and carbon also absorb much of the electromagnetic waves also.
So these lightweight radiation shielding,
Yes,
electronic
yes,
radiation shielding, as well as ballistic shielding material, definitely having an application for aeronautical defense, right?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay, aeronautical defense and like spacecraft and
yes, yes,
all these
yes,
stuffs,
yes.
right? So we can tune like
Yes, yes, we
whatever.
can tune because we have to add some kind of reinforcement into the foam so that its strength can increase as well as EMI also can be not deteriorate. EMI also more or less same, but you want to use for the armor application and as well as EMI shielding, you have to add some element, some kind of reinforcement which increase the strength but don't reduce the your EMI shielding.
Hmm.
So that's why we are adding graphene or other CNT into the carbon foam so that strength increasing but EMI shielding more or less same.
Okay, 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 okay. Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Gaurav. Any more question? Then please ask.
Okay, here, ma'am, here is a question. Question is not much clear, but this is what is the future of the rocket materials?
What?
What is the future of the rocket materials? I think,
Rocket.
yeah.
The rocket is nothing. You can say it is not like that. only single material is there. The rocket consists of thousands of material. Each has a separate application. Like main body is made from polymer composite, and then ceramic also used here. And so the material which is high temperature, they are basically metal as well as ceramic. So you cannot say that only one material used in the rocket. There are many materials, but for the re-entry vehicle, because our purpose is to use the rocket more and more time. It should not be discarded. So for that, the frontal part, they are using ceramic tiles. Because whenever rocket re-entry, because of ionosphere and other atmosphere, it has a very high friction. And because of that, the rocket temperature increases to 2000 to 2500 degrees centigrade. And the ceramic tiles basically also reduces the thermal conductivity to very low temperature, and also they are become lightweight and also strength. So as you know, the Kalpana Chawla case, because the ceramic tiles had been broken, because that the Atlantis the aircraft was fired. But now even ISRO and NASA are working on ceramic tiles, which they are using for re-entry vehicle now. So they've already tested one of the small vehicle, and they have re-entry. But this is unmanned. Maybe in the future they will do manned vehicle with these ceramic tiles.
Okay, thank you, sir. And here is another question: is that what are the advanced energy absorbing material for shock loading applications?
What?
Shock loading applications.
Shock loading.
Shock loading.
Shock loading.
Yeah.
So shock loading, basically you have to use intermetallic and ceramic for shock loading, because they can absorb much impact energy.
Okay.
And also foam is a very good impact absorber. But the only thing is that if you decrease the porosity, if you reduce the porosity too much, then strength will reduce. So you have to compromise in between both the things, porosity as well as strength. It's not like you make very highly porous foam, it can absorb whole energy. You have to make in combination with strength plus porosity.
Okay, sir. The next question is: any applications or advantages where metallic foams turns out to be better than metallic sheets other than their light weightednesses?
Yes, in form of sandwich panel. In many of the partition panel in the aerospace and the shipbuilding, you can use directly without metal sheet. You can use metallic foam sandwich panel, so it can reduce both the damping as well as the sound absorption, both the thing.
Sir, another question, sir, can we work in CSIR AMPRI for PhD research work?
Yes. We have a MOU with many university like AISECT, MANET and other things. So you can come and only in the case you have to pay some PhD dissertation work charges, and you have to choose one of the guide here. So both the PhD and MTech dissertation work can be possible. Some charges are there for 5 months, 6 months and 1 year, and you can work on topic of here.
Sir, another question is: can metallic foam can replace magnesium alloy for strength in planes?
What?
Can metallic foam can replace magnesium alloy for strength in planes?
Space magnesium material is used, but magnesium is prone to corrosion. If there are tensile strength is required, then foam cannot work. Only where the functional application required, like energy absorption or maybe damping, there work, because foam has a compressive property, not the tensile property. So wherever you require tensile property, the foam is not good.
Okay. So another one is: why use nickel foam supercapacitor?
What?
Why use nickel foam supercapacitor?
Yeah, people are using because nickel can be used for the electrolytic application. Some kind of like like in the automobile we are using catalytic converter to convert carbon monoxide to CO2. The same way, some kind of catalytic reaction can be possible into the nickel. So here the supercapacitor, some kind of reaction, electrical reaction is possible. So that's why people are using nickel and other foam for the supercapacitor application.
The next one is the influence of fluid property on permeability and foam drag coefficient.
What?
I just read the line: influence of fluid property on permeability and foam drag coefficient.
Yeah. So, I'm telling influence of fluid property on permeability and foam drag coefficient.
Okay. So finer is the pore size. You have to apply more and more pressure for the fluid to pass through. So that's why we have to optimize for any kind of heat exchanger or fluid application. We have to optimize the pore size as compared to the fluid viscosity and the property. So if you very fine pore, you have to apply some pressure to for the fluid to pass through. So if it is a very coarse pore, then fluid can pass easily. But residence, I actually think is that for the more heat exchanger, so residence time of the fluid should be much higher. So fluid should be constrained within the foam to enhance its heat conductivity. So we have to manage in between the both the fluid property and the pore size of the foam. And for the any fluid application, the foam should be interconnected. It should not be closed well. It should be open cell pore.
The next one is, what is memory foam? What is memory foam?
Memory foam actually, when you apply some load and after loading, unloading, it should come back to its own position.
Ma'am, sir, can we take more questions? Actually, so many questions are coming and coming. So,
one, two question. I think we can take that. Is there any possibility to replace such material by natural fiber composite material?
Yeah, we are in our lab. We are using jute fiber and the sisal fiber, and we are making wood substitute from this. But of course, their strength you have to, and it is very good as compared to normal wood. I mean, if you compare the wood, this kind of a natural fiber based wood, if you compare this wood with this other teak wood or other wood, they have a higher property, and also they have a higher the water absorption is very low, so it is very good as compared to the normal wood. We are already working on this material.
Okay, sir. Another question from my side, that I think you have told about that this kind of material can be used as silencer in gun, right?
Yes, sir.
Energy.
Sound absorption basically.
Yeah, because it's sound absorbing material, so
it can be put around the silencer so that noise can be reduced.
So in this way, it's a maybe very much imaginative question. With the help of these kind of sound absorbing material, and it is strength is also high. That any how can I say, any weapon invisible can be. Yes, secret weapon can be furnished. Secret, no, I don't know. I can't remember the exact word.
But if EMI shielding foam, we can use for carbon foam based EMI shielding around the weapon. So it can also reduce the weight, also reduce the sound absorption, and also EMI shielding is there. So carbon foam based structure can be put around any weapon, and it must have both the purpose, sound absorption plus EMI shielding, both purpose it can solve.
Okay. And also in aircraft or any kind of like camouflage, no?
Yeah, same thing, camouflage. Same thing.
Enemy cannot understand.
It is basically EMI shielding nothing but the radar cannot detect this thing. So EMI shielding nothing but whatever the waves are coming from the radar, it is absorbed by this foam, and the reverse, the reflection won't be there from this material. So the radar cannot catch what is there.
Okay, so this soundproof as well as anti-radar.
Yes.
Okay. So many questions are there. So I will share the mail ID of Dr. Gaurav sir here, and I think you can ask a lot of questions because Ranjit Puse sir has having a lot of questions, but because of time constraint, I will personally share you, Dr. Puse, the mail ID of Dr. Gupta. You can ask a question and you can also meet him in his suitable time. So now I'd like to ask Jyoti madam to provide a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. Here's Dr. Gupta sir. First of all, thanks a lot to accepting our invitation and take time for us. And the session was wonderful. Definitely we'll make the most from it, from your knowledge. And we are also looking forward with you to do some more precious and some credible work that will help us, and some collaborative research also. On behalf of entire Rabindranath Tagore University Faculty of Science, I am going to give you our greatest Grateful thanks to you that our Dean, Dr. Neetu Paliwal, our HOD, Dr. Pragya Srivastav, HOD Science, and the entire Science Department, faculties, technical staff. So please accept our thanks to you, and I hope we will work together in future also, and we are looking forward for also. And thank you so much, sir. Please come again, and we are looking forward for some more informative sessions like it. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Next time I would like to visit your place. Not
the
online, but the offline mode presentation.
Yes, sir. Gupta sir, हम invite करते हैं, आप जरूर आइए. और सेंटर ऑफ मटेरियल साइंस और फैकल्टी ऑफ साइंस दोनों की तरफ से आपको बहुत आभार है सर, और हम चाहते हैं कि आप आइए और घूम कर जाइए. और हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं रिसर्च के लिए सुदेशना मैम से भी बात करेंगे, और वहां से अगर कुछ अच्छा हेल्प हो जाता है सर तो प्लीज.
एंड फॉर इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो, राहुल सर आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहते हैं तो आप यू कैन गो अहेड.
सुदेशना मैम, कैन आई ऐड समथिंग?
या प्लीज गो अहेड.
Actually, sorry, I was a little bit stuck up. So, good evening, Gaurav sir. And it's our pleasure that you are here. Because of some network issue, my video is off, sir. Gaurav sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so sir, we, first of all, thanks to Sudeshna ma'am, as she has given the opportunity to our research scholars to have the insights of this material science and other details. And we are indeed having, sir, good research scholars to work with. So we are surely looking forward for the cooperation from your end. And I think our science department, Neetu ma'am and Sudeshna ma'am will definitely taking a drive onto this, and will help the scholars and teachers to work together on certain
in our MPRI, we can, the BTech student or MSc student can do their summer training, some
Yes,
2 months for 3 months, and some payment is there. So they can
Yes,
work,
sir.
and also MTech and PhD student can partially do their dissertation work here, maybe 6 months or 1 year. In that case, they have to choose a co-guide here and then work here.
Yes, sir.
And also the BTech student, the second year, third year can do skill training also. We have a very good skill department. And many aspects we are covering, like heat treatment, 3D printing, and the CNC and other aspect of the skill training is there. So all the things are there.
Okay.
Sir, thank you, sir. I think Sudeshna ma'am, just please note down all the key points so we can discuss further, and we can proceed further with these points, because this is really a wonderful opportunity. Sir, being a research coordinator, I can make it out that we are really having good students, good scholars with us, and with the collaboration with your institute.
Yeah. Dissertation.
So we will be able to. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sudeshna ma'am.
Thank you very much, Gaurav
Yes, sir.
sir.
Thank you
For the wonderful session and for your warm help to our university. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to meet you in our university campus and have an offline lecture so that our students as well as PhD scholars and our faculty members can be enriched with the help of your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.